Welcome to the Jeff Reinebold Show. And like we tell the players all the time, you can't complain about how you play, or where you play. You just gotta play. And today we are playing with dilated eyes, and we are playing from the car. So we are taking it to a new level, Michael.
Jeff, how's the form? I feel like you need to explain this whole eye dilation thing at some point, but we will definitely talk about that at some point. Big day, man. You were up very early this morning because I was texting you quite early your time on the East Coast. How you doing? You good?
I'm doing great, man. I tell you what, we got up and did a 7 a.m. podcast as the news was hot off the presses about some unbelievable football that we're going to see in Europe in the coming months. I still cannot believe that we're going to get a chance to see Patrick Mahomes against Tua Tagovailoa, the track team that is the Miami Dolphins, against the defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to be in Germany and available to the European fan.
It's funny because just before we list out the games, we were talking about this last night, and there was a lot of rumors in the last few weeks and days surrounding the Bears, and then a lot of rumors surrounding the Lions for the Chiefs. So I think whenever we've seen it, this morning, like 9 a.m. We kept very quiet, obviously, didn't tell anyone. I was like, what? Really? The Dolphins, like in a good way. I was like, oh my God, it's incredible. But then also you start to hear sort of rumblings last night of different games, Jeff, and it's funny. It just seems like this is a real big moment for the league. It's not like a turning point, but it's like this is when it sort of begins now in this post-COVID year. You got 5 high-end, high-quality games in Europe, not just like obviously they're usually in Mexico, but for the first time, 5 games in Europe. I hope you can get over for it, Jeff. Hopefully.
Well, I certainly hope I can get over for it too, Michael, because it is going to be great football. It's a great story. Again, you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who've invested so much into the UK, so much into the football community in the UK, and they're going to be in London for 2 weeks in a row. So very much like, the home team, even though they're designated as the visitor in one of those games, they're going to be on the ground in London for almost 2 weeks. And I think that's going to be a unique opportunity for that organization to continue to build on what they've done in the community in the UK. And certainly I think it'll be a lot of fun for the fans, more access to the players, all of those kinds of things. And then we talked briefly about the Dolphins and their, battle against Kansas City. That's going to be the marquee matchup of that weekend. I mean, that could be Sunday Night Football. I mean, that is such an amazing thing to realize that you're going to get 2 teams that, obviously are in Super Bowl conversation right now. Obviously, it's May, but those are 2 very, very talented football teams, and it may be a look at, the AFC Championship game.
So many things to pick off there. I will start off, obviously, by saying to people, if you're listening in the podcast, please do give Jeff a little subscription. If you search Jeff Reinebold Show on YouTube or go to the Pro Football Ireland YouTube channel, you can comment on this live stream right now. Fred Flunk saying, sup. I'd say he's gutted that the Cowboys aren't coming today, Jeff. But I will say, if you do comment, let us know where you're coming in from also. Jeff, just for people that may be living under a rock today, Falcons, Jags at Wembley, 1st of October. Jags, Bills, 8th of October at Tottenham. Ravens, Titans, 15th of October. Then obviously in November in Frankfurt, Dolphins, Chiefs. Colts against the Patriots. I think let's firstly run over. Do you want to go game by game, Jeff? I mean, it was funny because I was talking to the Orlando Ledbetter, like the GOAT of Falcons media, like 3 days ago, like just a general podcast, Jeff, talking about the Falcons going into the season. And the last question I asked him was, the Falcons don't have an international home marketing agreement yet. They have played in London a couple of years ago. Do you think that might happen again soon? And he genuinely didn't know. And it, I think, speaks volumes in a positive way that guys like that had no idea this was coming. So it shows you how tight they are about it, which is good, I guess, for the fans over here. Desmond Ritter coming in, Bijan Robinson also. That's a strong game to start off with, man, especially so early in the season for London.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at that, and Bijan Robinson, one of the most talented running backs to come into the National Football League in a lot of years. They've already got 1,000-yard rusher in their, on their football team right now. They are going to, Desmond Ritter is a talented young quarterback, but they're going to make their money running the football. And if you love the run game, you're going to see some really, really dynamic running backs. Atlanta has a team that has done an amazing job this offseason of improving themselves, signed back some offensive linemen that were critical, improved the defense that's been leaky for a few years. And, they've got young, talented people outside for Desmond Ritter to get the ball to, and, to just take the snap, turn around, and hand it to two really, really fine running backs. So I'm looking forward to that one. I think the Falcons are going to be one of the teams that I'm going to list as potential surprise teams as we go forward into the season.
I like it. I'm going to go a step further and say they win the South. NI Bronco from Belfast, Jeff, comment on Twitter saying, great chat with Mark Tressman last night. Very interesting listening. That podcast is on tomorrow morning on the RSS feed. Very interesting. Thank you for your comment there also. Jeff, I love that conversation. I was obviously in the background, but that was a great chat. It shows you what the great thing about the show is. We can talk about current things and then we can go into different interviews, which is great. Let's stay in this game. We've talked about the Jaguars, so we'll look at that focus. We've known for a couple of months the Bills are coming over. The Bills could have played the Cowboys, unlikely. The Bills could have played the Raiders. There wasn't I think we talked about this, didn't we? We might have had a little FaceTime to talk about that. I thought that might have been a situation. I like the Jags because obviously they get to stay in London for longer. It helps their marketing. I think long-term in the league, the best situation for us as fans internationally is we have a team that is willing to go home and away and they give up one home game a year. I think that is the best situation instead of having a team or a franchise short-term, but we'll see what happens. That Bills-Jags game with a Jags team, Jeff, that's rested in London for a week, more acclimatized, we haven't seen that before. And that could be a real factor for them. I'll be interested to see when Josh Allen arrives in the Grove, Jeff. Maybe Monday, Tuesday that week.
Well, which Josh Allen are you talking about? Are you talking about the Josh Allen?
There we go. All right. Here we go.
No, I mean, here's the thing. As you look at this, the NFL is always pushing the envelope in terms of, how to make the game more accessible to the fans. And there's been no question that the commissioner has talked about a European division. Well, here's another step in that regard, because you're going to have a team now back to back, right? They're going to be on the ground for 2 weeks. The Bills, I think, are going to be a fun team to watch. Have they taken another step? Has Brandon Beane done enough in the draft and in free agency? Because they weren't really active in free agency. Have they done enough to help that football team and help that quarterback get them over the hump? We're going to see some quarterbacks. You look at that game and Trevor Lawrence is going to be on the other sideline, a guy who made a big jump last year between years 1 and 2, and now is primed to make another jump in his third season in the league. Because I just saw the statistics the other day, Michael. The Jaguars have one of the most expensive receiver rooms in the National Football League. So they have invested in putting weapons around that young quarterback. And now let's go see what he's able to do with those weapons.
I'm excited for it. Obviously, Calvin Ridley revenge game in the first one also as well. So it's going to be good. We've got Owen Thomas from the UK commenting the London Jaguars could cause an upset in that second game. I agree, and I really thought about it now. They are going to be more acclimatized, accustomed. I will say, though, that Bills game, it's almost like the Packers game light or Packers game X2 in terms of it already, Jeff. You can sense the demand for tickets is going to be electric. The fans, especially for Buffalo, it's going to be a moment not to forget. So
There
it's going
will
to be
not
good.
there will not be a folding table in the entirety of the UK that's not at risk when Bill's Mafia gets to the UK, because those those Looney Tunes doing those folding table dives it's just classic. And the chickens in England better be on alert, because this is a chicken wing eating crew, and they're going to go through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of it.
Um, that's a really good point. Like for me, it's like the best I seen in terms of that street beside the stadium being busy was that Packers game last year, and I really think that Bills game could be a real statement of intent of the growth of this. So I'm really intrigued to see it. Got a comment from Lee here in the UK. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are no joke. Disappointed the Niners are not coming, but Jaguars are a good watch. I guess, yeah. Jeff, very quickly on that, a lot of talk that not talk. A few rumors the Niners are going to come over and play the Jaguars. It's hard for Jacksonville to give up a game of that magnitude as a home game, especially the way that the Niners are at the minute with Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. But the Niners also have an international marketing agreement in the UK. I'm sure we'll see teams like them, teams like the Jets, teams like the Bears playing home games or away games quite soon in the UK. Next year, it's the NFC's turn to host
Well,
games. There you go.
yeah, there's no question that the league is going to continue to supply us with the best possible games. And you look at when you think about it, with the exception of Desmond Ritter, think about the quarter, and he's young and he's developing and all that. But we got another young developing quarterback in Mac Jones that we're going to see from New England. We got maybe the quarterback with more upside than anybody since Patrick Mahomes in the draft, in Richardson from Indianapolis. Is he going to have the keys to the car by that time? Right? I mean, there's so many great storylines and so many things we can focus on. If you're a football fan, you're going to want to be at in these games. And after having been in Germany last year, Michael, you experienced it firsthand. The last time I was in Vault Stadium, which is the previous name of the stadium where they're going to play the games in Frankfurt, was we were winning an NFL Europe championship in 2000. And it's going to be a blast to see for the fans to see what that experience is like, because go to that game. Even if you don't have tickets, go to the game, because there is going to be a party breakout that week in Frankfurt, probably about Tuesday, and it won't stop until Monday morning.
I'll talk about Frankfurt in 1 wee second. Customary mention for that Ravens-Titans game. Big shout out to our friends Ben Mortimer, big Ravens fan. I was talking to him this morning, not last night at all, and he was very happy, man. I will say also the guy that we had on, or you had on in Dublin, Jeff, for Pro Football Ireland. Oh my God, the name's not in my head. Owen Murphy. He's delighted. Very, very happy Ravens fan today. A lot of Ravens fans in the UK, Ireland, Europe happy because it's the first time in a long time, Jeff, the Ravens have been over. Obviously, in the circumstances, Joe Flacco with under 30 yards passing, I want to say. Am I correct? They were destroyed in London the last time, to the point where John Harbaugh was like, no, we're not, like, that's somebody else's job. So that's not me being negative. It's just saying, like, there is an opportunity now for the Ravens to right wrongs, and they have an interesting chance against the Titans team. Will Henry be there in September? Will he be traded at this point?
No, I think Henry will be there. Everybody's talking about that. Like the Titans have just all of a sudden, they're going to tank and try and rebuild that. I think what they're doing is retooling the team, not rebuilding it. They've got Simmons. They got a bunch of nasty defensive linemen. They got King Henry. You take Skronsky. You're going to have your quarterback healthy again. I think the Titans are going to be better than people think they're going to be. And, from the Ravens standpoint, I was in the stadium. I did that game when they came over the last time. And that was a take them out behind the barn and just beat the dog stew out of them kind of game. And, you're right. Harbaugh was hot after the game in the locker room and in the tunnel leading up to the locker room. His team did not play well. Well, different team this time. And we're going to see what Todd Monken's offense is going to be like in Baltimore. They couldn't throw the ball the length of their arm the last time we played. They've gone out. They got OBJ. They draft Zay Flowers. They get Bateman back when he's healthy. You got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in football. This is a team that's in transition and a team that's coming into the 21st century in terms of schematics on the offensive side of the football. And we're going to find out exactly how good Lamar is. He's talking already about throwing for 6,000 yards. Well, he's got the weapons to do it. He's got the weapons to do it. We'll see. It's going to be fun watching.
For fans, especially those, like teams like the Titans have been over. I know they're not where they were a couple of years ago, but to have them come over, to have the Ravens come over, I think it's great to have the Bills come over, and it's good to see Jacksonville continue to do that. Falcons, good to have them over again. They were over a couple of years ago. I think they played the Jets, if I'm correct. I was at the game. I should know. Too many games now, Jeff. Jeff, before we go to the Germany game, you're now black. I seen you're now back on the blue tick, so you must be very famous. Congratulations.
I got my blue tick back, and that just means that the show has to go get better. Elon told me that we have to pick up our game a little bit, or he's going to take the blue tick back again. But for right now, we got a blue tick, so we're dependent on the fans to subscribe, hit us with the like button, send in your comments, send in your questions. This ain't our show. This is your show.
And that's why I wanted to keep it to Germany for now. There's a heap of comments here. Well, a few comments from a couple of people. First off, shout out to the Talking Balls podcast from Northern Ireland are watching the show. How's the form, boys? And breaking news for them and for everyone watching. The meetup in Antrim is going to have to be moved from the 1st of October to potentially the 23rd or 24th, I want to say. More on that tomorrow. Neil, I'll talk to you then. Keith from Ireland is a massive Dolphins fan. Jeff, he's saying, looking forward to a cracking game in Frankfurt. I was chatting to him earlier on. A lot of Dolphins fans, he's saying, thought this would be an opening season game, but not to be. But that shows you the significance of this game. I think there was another comment, I think I've missed it there, saying it should be Sunday Night Football in the comments on Twitter. Thank you to the person that put that in. But for anyone watching, Jeff, I'm flying over 8 a.m. Lufthansa Saturday morning, both weekends. I'm flying back 9:50 to Dublin the Sunday. I can't wait. I think it's going to be like an NFL holiday weekend to Frankfurt. And the hotels, Jeff, as we sit here talking right now, the hotels are still pretty cheap, man. People need to get on it and just get over there. It's going to be a great weekend. That Dolphins Chiefs game, you talk about the storylines. Tyreek going up against the Chiefs. That Dolphins offense, can they sustain a good start to the season like last year? But can they go forward at that point in November? Will Tua be fit? We all hope. But Henry Hodgson has worked the masterstroke here. He's got his Dolphins over. I'm joking, Henry, but he must be a happy man today. Eh? That's Jeff. That for me on paper is the best international game in 15 years. 100%.
No question. I think it's the best one we've maybe ever had. When you look at the hype that'll be around that game, if both these teams play like they're capable of playing and have the kind of years that they should be having at that time, you're looking at Tua, who was the highest rated passer when he got hurt last year, against Mahomes, who, for my money, is the best quarterback in football. And this is going to be a game that's not going to be without its trash talk too, because that already Snead has popped off about how he's tired of hearing about the cheetah and he can't wait for the game. We haven't even got done with OTAs yet, and they're already talking trash about a game that's coming up in October.
I just hope they don't. I mean, they're not going to do this. I'm just being really prudent. I hope they don't flex that game that day. I'm sure they won't, but I'm just telling myself because I have to fly in and out. Like, I'm not staying. But your boy got the flights booked, Jeff. I'm just buzzing. I can't wait to go. Providing I get in. If not, I'll sneak in. Well, I'll find a way to get in. 40, no, Jeff. Jeff, you've been in that stadium. That's a smaller stadium, 40-odd thousand. It's smaller than Munich.
It's been refitted since we had the championship game in 2000. Like I say, it's been the year 2000, I think, since I was in that stadium. But it's been refitted. It's been upgraded. It'll be a beautiful venue. And the thing that's will be really unique, there is a huge area outside of the stadium, right? Bald Stadium means Forest Stadium. It's in a wooded area outside of Frankfurt, and there is a huge plaza or mall or whatever you want to call it. And now fans that have been to NFL Europe games will remember these. The power parties, the pregame parties in Frankfurt
Power parties.
were absolutely legendary. And I mean legendary, to the point, Michael, where as soon as I got off the bus, I would go in and get dressed real fast. And then I would go out and spend a half an hour just walking around the power party, looking at the craziness that was going on out there. I mean, they had rock bands, they had, you know, people eating bratwurst, drinking beer, laughing, singing. And it was amazing. It didn't matter who it didn't matter what club you supported, what team you supported. It was a celebration of football and of football fans and the game and everybody that loves the game. You cannot go wrong if you go to Germany that day. Even if you don't have a ticket, go to the stadium and just be in the environment.
As someone that stood outside the Munich Stadium for a few hours last year getting cold, I can, like, two different cities completely, but yeah, the crack, the fun was just, it was, I was fortunate enough to be there, but like to actually even be outside it's incredible. It's different to London. Both are great, but it is different. I would recommend it. I would say, and Keith is saying keep selling it, coach. He's loving it. I would say, Jeff, that for people watching this or maybe on the fence, the airport's 5 kilometers from the stadium. Like you could, like, it's incredible.
There's so many wins in this deal, right? First of all, one of the reasons why the atmosphere is so different than a London game, and there are a lot of expats and that come to those games, and a lot of fans travel over from, the home cities. But you got to understand, Michael, there are huge military bases still around Frankfurt, and so there will be these people have had football for a very long time, high level football for a very long time. This is a sophisticated fan base. They know the game and they appreciate good football. I think it's going to be I just think it's a win-win if you go, and I'm sure Touchdown Trips is going to put together a trip. But if you go, Frankfurt's a beautiful city, but Heidelberg is right down the road. I mean, it's October in Germany. It doesn't get any better than that.
Oh my God, I forgot it's Oktoberfest. Yes. Oh, it's going to be good, man. I'm excited. I am excited now. That game, November the 5th, November the 12th. Well, Jeff, you were saying the year 2000, a lot can change since 2000. And look at the New England Patriots, what they've done since the year 2000. I'd say your man, Sebastian Vollmer, right enough, actually, this is a whole different. When we met him in Phoenix, Jeff, that man was like, I was like this, like, he's a giant, but he must be a bit emotional today. I mean, he's known about this for 2 to 3 years, but it must hit home for him today that this is happening. And I know for Seabass, it'll mean an awful lot whenever the team is there in November.
I feel so happy for him because he grew up outside of Dusseldorf, a little town called Karst, which is just south of Dusseldorf. And Dusseldorf is only an hour and a half from Frankfurt. And, for him, it'll be like going home. And when you talk about football royalty in Germany, he is truly the king in that country. And for him to have an opportunity to be around, 2 games in his home country, and all of the hoopla that goes with that, and I'm really happy for him. It's a great experience, and and he and his crew will do a great job of selling that game.
Das Hoopla. There's your TikTok moment, Sebastian. Hello, how are you? Let's talk about this game because, man, I need to go to bed soon. Been up since 6 a.m. doing this all day. I'm exhausted. Here, first world problems, Jeff. One thing that got completely blindsided me as well was not just that Dolphins game. Colts came out of nowhere. We were all thinking it would be the Saints. Seen a bit of talk last night from the Washington Commanders. basically the Commanders' mascot's like a pig or something. I don't even know anymore. A hog maybe, and they put up this big location, Jeff, of Germany, and the Patriots logo, and everyone went, "Oh, here we go." And it wasn't them; it is the Colts. For the Colts, I think it's the first time they played abroad since 2016. They lost to the Jaguars, coming in now with Anthony Richardson. Jim Irsay isn't going to get that roof closed anyway, and he's going to have to go over and just play the Patriots. I think for fans generally, this is a good game because the Colts haven't been over in a long time. It's the first time for Germany for both teams. It will be good fun.
Yeah, and like we talked about Sebastian. So this is Sebastian's team, right? His team is going to be there, and Seabass's School of German will be open all week in Frankfurt. Indianapolis Colts fans, you got to get to this game. This could be really, really a fun one because nobody, and I mean nobody in football, is tougher on rookie quarterbacks than Bill Belichick. And at this stage of the game, we may be seeing Anthony Richardson and all of that athletic talent on display. I think it's going to be a really fun thing to watch. The Colts had a season, that it went sideways on them. There were so many things that went wrong. And I was talking to the quarterback coach from the Colts from last season today, and we were talking about it. And he said it went from bad to worse, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. They brought in a new left tackle. He didn't work out. He got hurt. The running back wanted a new contract. It was just a mess, just a total mess. And this is going to be this year's Sean Steichen there. There's going to be a new coaching staff, a new attitude, a new program, and I think a new team in Indianapolis. And again, it's going to be really fun to watch and see how the Colts develop over the course of the season.
I am fading, my friend. I'm going to say 2 points from the comments. Talking Balls podcast. Can't believe you didn't bring Rodgers and the Jets over. I think it'll be a situation personally where they have the international home marketing agreement, but I think they'll want to use the Rodgers situation to their benefit in terms of getting bums and seats in New York. They may come over as an away team in the next couple of years. A lot of talk today about Carolina coming in to Munich next year. That is not being confirmed. It will not be confirmed for at least the next 9 months. Jeff, let's end it in this tonight. Fred Flung saying, Coach, you asked me why Mazi Smith was chosen first by Dallas. Safe pick, big freakish athlete to help the run D, which has been the soft spot in Campbell's defense.
That's a great evaluation because that is exactly what he is. This guy is freaky strong. That the coach at the University of Michigan has had some big, strong players historically, and they have a huge weight room. Mazi Smith is so strong that they actually had to go out and have equipment refitted to handle more weight so that he could get a workout. So you can bet that running the ball against Dallas on the inside is not going to be, something that you're going to see in the end. I hear this, and tell Fred, I am getting word from my friends in Dallas that we may see Parsons really move more to the edge than play as an off-the-ball backer this coming season, and they're going to really try and feature him in the rush. And I think that's a great move by them. The Cowboys, Van Der Esch is going to be healthy again, I think. I think the Cowboys are going to be a good football team. Deuce Vaughn, the little running back they took, is quick as a hiccup, and he's hard to tackle. This is Powell's going to come off that knee. The Cowboys are going to be a good football team. You watch and see.
Finally, Dave from Limerick. Thanks for the show, guys. Jeff, you working with any teams this year, or will be some time in the waves? This is all TBC, Jeff, isn't it? You can't say anything yet, can you?
I cannot say a word. I'm sworn to secrecy. They say they would take my youngest son if I spoke one word about it.
I heard people in Ireland, Jeff is going to host the Late Late Show. There's your big rumor. That's a joke, Jeff. It's a good joke. Don't worry. Can I publicly thank, and I know Jeff will as well, the NFL UK for today. They've turned the schedule release into something that actually means an awful lot more now. They've been very supportive to all of us. I know, Jeff, you were doing your Inside the Huddle with Neil and Sky this morning. Today meant an awful lot to a lot of us. So to GM Henry Hodgson, PR team in NFL UK, thank you all very, very much, Jeff. I would say we'll be back this week, but we won't. I'm going off the grid for 3 days. I much love, man. I'm gonna chill. If you need me, hit me up. But this has been good fun this week.
I've enjoyed it, Mike, and again, thank you to. I think if you haven't listened to the Mark Trestman podcast, I think everybody should listen to it. There's some great life lessons in there, and certainly it's been fun talking football. Go and see what your wife looks like, man. You gotta. You can't work all day long and all night long. Go spend some time with your family, and let's get together in a week and talk some more football.
Yes, sir. The podcast Jeff's talking about, that one with Mark Trestman, the RSS feed has it on Thursday morning. It's on YouTube right now. Just search Jeff Reinebold Show. It's on there. Great interview. It's also on Twitter. It was on here last night as well. But Twitter's dying, man. It's like Elon. You got to work that algorithm, mate. Jeff, we will talk next week. You got a couple of big chats on Monday. A couple of former NFL players, alumni. Looking forward to it, my man. I'm gonna hit the music and we're gonna get out of here. But for now, appreciate it, man. It's been a good laugh. Mahalo, yeah.
All right. Aloha.